dumbass. Holy
You're
fuck.
going to get the floor. You're going to get the
Morning.
floor.
Mute his dumbass or I'm gone. Mute him now. Mute him now. Just mute his fucking ass now. I'm so tired of this. Mute his fucking ass
ahead.
now. We're not going forward until his dumbass is muted and I see the fucking mute button.
Richard Spencer,
Mute
version
his fucking
2.
ass now.
I can't mute him in a blood sport debate, man.
Bye.
Pregnancy is interpreted as great bodily harm, premise 1.
Yes.
Premise 2, great bodily harm justifies self-defense killing.
Use of lethal force. Yes.
Premise 3, killing a human that you're pregnant with is justified, right?
Conclusion, yes. That's not
okay. So then that's you've just accepted all the premises and the conclusion that you can kill a human that you're pregnant with. And
yes.
is there any point where that modus ponens would not follow at any point in the pregnancy? Is there a point where that would not follow? If not, why would it not follow?
That doesn't matter to the argument. So like even if that's the case, so if at some point it doesn't follow, that doesn't affect the argument.
I would want to know why it wouldn't follow. I want to know why is it different in certain scenarios?
But again, you're not. Are you going to accept the argument, or are you rejecting the argument?
Look. I will accept the argument that you're laying out if you can be consistent with it and point out all the intricacies that I'm asking you. I'm simply saying, why is it? Why would it not apply in certain scenarios of pregnancy? What is it precisely about the pregnancy that we call this great bodily harm over? And you did use the word over a prolonged period. What does that mean? What does prolonged period mean? How long does it have to be?
Let me try to explain this to you again. So if I make an argument, all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, Socrates is mortal. But then you ask, well, what about monkeys? Are monkeys humans? It doesn't matter. Like it says, if all men, it doesn't matter what the qualification of a man is. It makes no difference. It's great. If someone is a man, they are mortal. So asking what the cutoff point is doesn't affect the argument. If there's a cutoff point, the things before the cutoff point justify abortion. It's correct. The things after the cutoff point.
No, because
hang on though. Isn't it fair to say, if you say Socrates was a man, for the other person to say, can you tell me what a man is?
Not if you like, not really. No, not in the context of this argument. So again, like, wait. So if there's a cutoff point, that means before the cutoff point, abortion is justified, and after the cutoff point, abortion isn't. But no matter where that point is, that means some of them are justified. That means I've won the debate. Abortion is justified at some point, right?
No, it's because it's not consistent. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm not conceding the debate to you. I'm simply trying to establish your position. And yes, in that what is it called? I don't speak in propositional logic. But where you say premise 1, men are mortal, premise 2, Socrates is a man, conclusion, Socrates is mortal. It is valid to say what is it that constitutes a man? That is a very valid question to ask.
No, it doesn't. So that's a question of soundness, not validity. So do you know the difference between soundness and validity?
We're not getting anywhere here. I did reach out to somebody who I wanted him to means test this so we can see if there's problems going on here that I could identify. He's a philosophy major, and he says, look, if the proposition 1 is all men are mortal, proposition 2, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. But if it turns out that man is incoherent, then it turns out the sentences are not propositional, therefore it's not capable of validity. It's fine to say I'm not sure if it's valid because I don't know what that word means.
Then he's an idiot. Because valid, it would still be valid. You can't make it unvalid.
But essentially, we're saying if it's not sound, then it's not valid.
I'm finished then.
So, as I said before, if at any point, if there's a cutoff point, that means I win. You can't say I'm wrong if there's the cutoff point or not.
Not if your argument is not sound.
Well, he's saying not propositional. So
no. Stop. Yeah. No, because if there's a cutoff point, everything before the cutoff point, it's sound and valid.
Okay, how do we ground that it's sound though? What does it mean when you say you have to ground bodily harm? You have to ground what a man is.
Cutoff point means like after the cutoff point, it's no longer great bodily harm. Before the cutoff point, it is great bodily harm, right? That's the cutoff point, right?
Yeah, I want to know.
So before
How
the
do you
cutoff point,
ground it? How do you
wait,
ground
wait,
it prior to this?
Hang on.
cutoff point?
Let him finish for a second because I want to hear this. I do.
How do you
Go
ground?
ahead.
How do you ground why it's sound prior to the cutoff point, and what is the difference after that cutoff point? Why is it no longer
the
sound?
cutoff point doesn't matter. Remember, so if it's sound
Then-
before, wait, stop.
Unclear.
So
Unclear
wait,
position.
I'm trying to explain basic logic to you here. So if before the cutoff point it's sound, then I don't need to say anything about after the cutoff point. I can say everything before the cutoff point. Abortion is justified by great bodily harm. I don't care what's after the cutoff point. I've just proven my point.
What is the cutoff? What like how?
I don't. The cutoff point doesn't matter. If it's anything
does.
after
It
day
does.
one, there are legal.
It does
justifications
matter.
for abortion. You're an
It does
idiot.
matter
Like how do you not understand this? Cutoff point.
because you're being
50-50,
unclear.
50-50. The first 50% of abortions are justified. I win the debate. It doesn't matter where the cutoff point is.
But you have to justify.
No, I
them. You have
don't. How do you not understand this? This is basic logic.
This is insanity. You are
Well,
not
so-
good.
Yeah. Well, so what he's saying is that if it turns out that it's not a proposition, because all arguments as sets of propositions can be sound, they can be valid arguments, but still be incoherent.
What the philosopher is a dumbass. He knows nothing of what he's talking about.
I'm going to take a wild guess.
So the guy in
I'm
your
going to take a
comments is
wild
dumb.
guess.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Don't bring him up again. You have to address my argument. My
Is that who
argument
you
here
contacted
is
there,
that if
Andrew?
there is a cutoff point, I can just grant there's a cutoff point. Everything before the cutoff point, I win the debate.
You aren't
Wait,
grounding
wait,
it
wait,
before
wait,
the
wait,
cutoff
not
point.
quite done,
You
not
are
quite
not
done.
grounding. You're not establishing that your propositions are sound. You're not
Yes, I am.
establishing that because you're not
Yes, I am.
defining the terms
Oh
that you're
my God,
asserting.
You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
All
Holy
you're doing
shit.
is calling me stupid, and I'm telling you why your
No,
position
I'm
is
literally
unclear because
explaining
you're
to
not
you why
defining
what
the
you're
terms that
saying
you're
is
using. Do you
dumb.
understand that?
I'm literally explaining to you what you're saying.
I'm
is
literally just
stupid.
laughing at you. Dude, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Oh my
just
God! How
projecting
can you be
you're
this
projecting
stupid?
your incoherence onto me to make me look bad.
So if you say, unless you say there are literally, like, to use the example of Socrates as a man, unless you're saying there are literally no men, no one is a man. As long as you grant there is a
That's
single
not what
man.
we're saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Stop interrupting.
I'm
kid.
simply asking
Stop
you.
interrupting, kid. Holy shit! If you grant that there is a single man on the planet, then the argument follows. The argument is true. It is valid and sound. The only way to say it is not is you have to say there are
No, it
literally
wouldn't be. You would have to
zero
ground.
men.
You would have to ground. This is what you would have to do to validate that argument. You would have to ground what a man is and how Socrates meets that definition in order to justify that conclusion that Socrates is mortal
I
because
don't,
he is a
it's
man.
obvious. You have to argue there are zero men. Unless you argue there are zero men, if you grant that men are a real thing, I win the debate.
No, your conclusion is that Socrates is mortal because Socrates
I
is a
don't.
man.
So I don't understand that. Like, what if you didn't know what a man was?
What? It doesn't matter. So if you grant, like, do you not know what pregnancy is? Have you never heard of pregnancy? Are you ignorant of what pregnancy is?
Well, no. That's not what I mean, though. I'm just saying.
No,
If you
that's
didn't know
what
what-
this debate is. He's claiming ignorance of, like, the most basic things everyone already knows about. Like, I don't know what a man is, so I can't grant the argument. Like, then you're an idiot.
It's simply
So
for the sake of
wait,
argument.
wait,
If
let me
somebody
explain further.
disputes your definition of man, you have to be able to define that.
Wait. So again, I don't need to give a precise definition of man because we all know what men are, right? We know what a man is. Biological man, XY chromosome. We know what that is. I don't need to give a definition. We know what men is, so we can say.
Okay,
yes,
you just did. Okay,
yes,
there you go.
Stop,
hey, perfect. Hang on. No. Right there.
Stop,
You gotta stop. You gotta stop and let me
Stop
respond.
interrupting, kid. Can you mute him so I can finish my point?
Hang on, both of you, because we're not getting anywhere here, right? We're just going around in circles.
I
going
can
around
move
in
us forward.
circles. Okay, if you
No,
can't move
you
us
can't, 'cause
forward,
I need to, like.
Well,
I need
no,
to
he-
okay. Well,
respond to
let
the speech
TJump
you just said.
respond. Let TJump respond. We'll move it over if you can move it forward. Go ahead, TJump.
So again, if I say Socrates are all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, Socrates is mortal. If you start giving, like, a pedantic, I need an exact definition of man, or I can't grant your argument. Well, then you're a fucking dumbass. You're just so fucking stupid.
that's
you
not
aren't
an
really
argument.
talking. So
Okay, so I can
don't
actually move us forward.
don't interrupt.
So he
Because
just
we know
he
what
just,
it
let
he
him
just
finish.
said a bunch of words.
Hang on. Just let TJump
He
finish.
just said a bunch of words to call me a
I know you
dumbass.
got plenty of debate though left. Sim. Go
I'm not
ahead.
done calling you a dumbass yet. So if we know what a man is, if it's so
I'm sure of that
obvious-
one.
if we know what a man is, anybody who's asking for a definition of man is just being pedantic and because they're avoiding the argument
No,
because they
they're
know
not.
they've lost. We
No, they're
know.
not. They're trying to.
great bodily harm
They're trying
is
to
just
establish clarity.
Wait, Can
So-
you
so
mute
can
him?
I
Can you mute him
please-
so I can
can I
finish?
please respond? Or are you just going to
If
keep
you let
talking?
him, if you let him
Can you mute him?
finish, I will let you have the floor, I promise. But please let TJump finish. Then.
So we don't need to give an exact definition of great bodily harm. As he admitted, if you cut someone's arm off, that qualifies as great bodily harm. So we know great bodily harm is a significant amount of physical pain. He's granting the concept is coherent. He knows the concept is coherent. He's not saying the concept is great bodily harm.
He's galloping.
You're gonna get.
Let me respond to what you're saying, dude.
Let me finish.
No, I want to respond to what you said like 3 minutes ago, dude. Stop talking.
Let me finish. Let me finish
speaking.
You're not, no, I'm not letting you finish. I don't care. You mute him so I can finish. When I asked you what a man is, and you said everybody knows what a man is, and then what you do, you defined a man. You said person with an XY chromosome. You defined man. Congratulations.
Hang on.
Now do that with bodily harm.
I'm going to leave if I have to keep putting up with this. You got to shut the fuck up. I got to be able to finish.
Zen, you just got to let him respond, and I will let you have the floor. I promise. But just
I want to respond to what he said 3 minutes ago.
I know, and you'll get a chance
write it
to.
Fuck down. Respond to it after I'm done. Idiot.
Get a chance.
Fucking dumbass. So he's already granted great bodily harm.
Jump seething.
Hang on, Zen.
Mute him. Holy fucking shit. Mute myself. Mute him fucking now.
He's muting himself. I don't tend to mute people if I can avoid it. But go ahead, TJump. Finish.
He's already granted great bodily harm as a coherent concept. We understand what great bodily harm is. He admitted cutting an arm off is an example of great bodily harm. Shoving a bowling ball up somebody's ass for 9 months is an example of great bodily harm. Do I need to give it a specific exact definition? No, we already understand the concept. Like we understand the concept of man. We do not need a particular definition. He's avoiding the topic because he's a dumbass. So, no, I do not need to give a specific definition of the cutoff point because it doesn't matter.
No, that's
actually. Hang on. It's almost done.
Fucking dumbass.
I don't believe that it's almost done.
His fucking dumbass. So, if there is any cutoff point, and we know there's obviously a thing there, then guess what? I win the debate because everything before the cutoff point is great bodily harm. The argument is both valid and sound deductively, you dumbass. So unless you argue there is no such thing,
he's going to keep going. He's not done.
No, he's almost done.
Dumbass.
You're going to get the floor. You're going to get the floor.
Mute his dumbass or I'm gone. Mute him now. Mute him now. Just mute his fucking ass now. I'm so tired of this. Mute his fucking ass now. We're not going forward until his dumbass is muted and I see the fucking mute button.
Richard Spencer,
mute
version 2.
Ass now.
I can't mute him in a blood sport debate, man.
Why?
Richard Spencer, version 2, 2.0.
Well, yeah, so I didn't hear the whole discussion, and it might turn out that I agree overall more with TJump on the topic if I heard it, but there was just one thing that was said in there that seems so confused to me. If I understood him correctly, it sounded like he was trying to say that it wasn't reasonable for you to object to validity by saying that I don't know what one of the words in the sentence means, right? Because he wants to say validity is just about the soundness, but yeah. Well, validity is a part of soundness. To be
that's what
sound,
I kind of
have to
too.
Be that. Yeah, but the point is that it's fine for you to challenge the validity by saying I don't know what one of the words means, because depending what the word means, right? If it has no meaning or if it's like incoherent or something like this, then it could turn out that it renders the sentence no longer a proposition, in which case it would actually be logically impossible for it to be part of a valid argument, right? So it's fine to object to the validity of what someone's saying by saying, well, I don't know what that word means, right? I need to actually have an understanding of that word, because it could turn out that's not a proposition.
It would be the equivalent of saying like, twinkle fairies are mortal. Socrates is a twinkle fairy, therefore Socrates is mortal. But if I don't know what the word twinkle fairy means, how am I supposed to accept that the premise and conclusions? Right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not just about accepting it. It's about so there. It's not going to be the case that it's valid, right? Because it's not even an argument. The only kind of things that can be valid are arguments, right? And if it turns out that one of the sentences that he's presenting as a proposition, it's actually non-propositional when you investigate the meaning of one of the words, well, then it turns out that we're not actually looking at an argument anymore, and therefore not looking at something that can be valid. So it's like, I forget the exact phrasing, but what I'm objecting to is when he asks you to just sign off on the validity without knowing what the word means.
Yeah, that's what he did.
And that's
what I was contending with. That's exactly what I was contending with.
Someone might ask you, even in a religious context, you might disagree with this. Actually, no, you won't, because you could agree that someone could make an error like this or something. without actually saying there's something false about religion. Someone could make like some version of like the Kalam argument, and they could equivocate on cause, right? And you might say, well, look, before talking about what any of the words mean, just tell me, is the argument valid? It would be fine to object to that, right? By saying, well,
Because I would say I don't know what causality is.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason is because you have two propositions in that case that use cause. And if it turns out that cause is being used equivocally, which you need to know the meaning of the word to know, well, then they can't be represented with the same propositional variable, and you're not going to get a valid argument, right? But it's going to be valid if it is a univocal usage of the term.